The Hill is reporting on a devastating new poll for Donald Trump. They say more voters are beginning to view Trump negatively. 7 in 10 people, including nearly half of Republican voters, have an unfavorable view of the GOP frontrunner, according to a new Associated Press GFK poll. They say a majority of men and women, young and old, and conservatives, moderates, and liberals all share a negative view of him. The majority of whites, Hispanics, and blacks also share those views. Guys, I'm not kidding when I say it's every demographic. Literally every demographic is like, fuck that guy. Now, they go on to mention in the article, they don't have data for this, but they say that it's probably due to the recent abortion controversy where he sat down with Chris Matthews, and Chris Matthews really hammered him on abortion because he said, what should the punishment be? 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 And he was forced to say, yeah, I think there should be some punishment against the woman. Well, there are a lot of pro-lifers who, even though they're, against abortion, they still say, well, you don't punish the woman, though. So he got backlash from everybody. He got backlash from the anti-abortion community. He got backlash from liberals, of course. And then he ended up flip-flopping, going back and forth like 4 or 5 times. It was just totally unclear what he was saying. Half the time he would say, yeah, I was right when I said that. The other half the time he was like, no, I don't think there should be any punishment for them. Okay, so which is it? So they're saying that this is what finally did him in. And they're also saying that it's his campaign manager facing a battery charge against a Breitbart journalist, Daily Caller journalist? Forgive me, I don't remember, but it's a right-wing outlet, and there's allegations of battery against his campaign manager when he grabbed a female reporter's wrist and moved her out of the way, and then she had bruises. So people are saying, well, this is probably why now his unfavorables are shooting up more and more. I got to be honest, I don't agree with what they think is the cause of the downturn. And honestly, what I think is the cause of the downturn is, it's controversial, and I'm not sure anybody is going to agree with my take on it. I actually think it's the fact that we haven't had Republican debates in a long time. Now, I know you're probably like, Kyle, seriously? So the answer would be more Trump for people to dislike him less? I say yeah. Because when people were seeing him all the time in the debates, his unfavorables were lower. Now, granted, his unfavorables were still high, but it was about 55% or 56%. Now it's 70%. And we haven't had a debate in a long time, and those numbers keep getting worse. So I honestly think that we haven't had a debate. And here's the main point. When you're a con artist and when you're a bullshitter, you actually, you need to be in front of the people you're bullshitting to bullshit them, to be a con artist. And people oftentimes, if they see him, and definitely in comparison to the other assholes on stage when it was Marco Rubio and now it's Ted Cruz, you actually walk away from it going, yeah, he's bad. He ain't as bad as the other guy, though. And that's true. When you look at Ted Cruz, I want to fucking take a shower and, pour Clorox in my eyes. Oh, my God, he's so fucking smarmy and sleazy and disgusting. And Trump is all those things, too, but at least he has the faux straight shooter mentality, kind of like Chris Christie, where he pretends like he's telling it like he is, and he sounds like he's telling it, like it is, but he's really contradicting himself all the time and lying and making no sense. But again, if you put a bullshitter or a con artist in front of people, they'll bullshit and they'll be a con artist and they will dupe over more people. So I think if there were more Republican debates, he actually would still have probably about 55% unfavorable rating and would still be dominating in all the elections. And now that there haven't been as many debates, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down. And when people think of a guy like Ted Cruz, the idea of a Ted Cruz is better than actual Ted Cruz. So if you just look on paper, Donald Trump versus Ted Cruz, and you don't take into account any debates, you don't see them talking, none of that stuff, you think, well, at least this guy Cruz, he's a politician. Okay, so he's actually in Washington. There are allegations he's like an anti-establishment guy and a rogue, and he's willing to buck the trends in his own party. So people go, yeah, the idea of him isn't that bad. The problem is when you actually listen to him talk, you go, oh my God, suicide! I cut my wrist. But, the idea of him is better than actual him. So when you don't have debates happening, people revert back to the idea of Ted Cruz. And they're like, well, at least he's a politician and at least he's not Trump. The idea of Trump is a clown. He's a clown of all clowns, a buffoon narcissist. But again, if you see him in a debate, you notice he's actually more palatable than the other Republicans, and he's a bullshitter and a con artist, so people will fall for it. So my takeaway is his unfavorables are actually going up because there are fewer Republican debates now. So if I were on Donald Trump's team, I would want more debates. I'd be like, yeah, come on, me versus Cruz, let's do this thing. Because I may be unlikable, but this guy's definitely more unlikable, and I think they're right about that. But then this also leads to another conversation about the general election. What's the general election going to be like? Guys, this has the potential, if it's Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, it has the potential to be the lowest turnout election ever. I mean, Hillary does not have the heart of the base. She just doesn't. You look at the polls on Bernie voters who are like, I will never vote for her. I think it's over 25% of Bernie voters are like, forget it, not interested. So she loses the heart of the base. And who do you need to come out to vote for you in a general election? Obviously, the base is the most important part. So that's gone for the Democrats. On the Republican side, Trump does have the heart of the base, but there are half of Republicans are like, I hate that guy. So what you have is just low turnout across the board. It would be a disaster. And also remember, when there is low turnout historically, who usually wins? Republicans. Democrats need a higher turnout in order to win, because when there's a higher turnout, it's more younger voters. When it's younger voters, they more vote for the Democrat. So there's a lot of things to look out for here moving forward. But isn't that amazing? The front runner on the Republican side has a 70% unfavorable rating. That's unheard of. I don't know if there's ever been a front runner with that high an unfavorable rating. And for Hillary Clinton, too, she has a relatively high unfavorable rating, but I think it's just over 50%. It's like 54% or 55%. So people really hate her, but still not as much as they hate Trump. It's getting weird, man.